All right, all you devils out there. Sam here with you. It's Friday, October 8th. Now it's just coming up on 9 o'clock for me. And so I'm doing this video a bit earlier than normal as I'm traveling this weekend. So I'm I got to leave at 11 o'clock. So I'm just putting this, I'm put this out to members earlier, and then we'll get this out on YouTube later today. Okay, so I don't have the usual amount of time here to prep for this, but I think there's a couple of things we can look at here. I've got I think an alternate here that solves this. If this is going to hold as our 4, right, which right now it sure looks like that. I mean, we very strong possibility that this is our 4, right? And we're still now working on the 5. If that's the case, well, a couple of things to note here, and again, I keep coming back to this as a starting point. Still in that little channel. These inside 23.6s, right? Still stuck grinding through that. If we're gonna get out of this, if this is 4 and we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, all of this still yet to come. Well, at the very least, we want to see it break out of this and get up into this upper section where we head towards some of these upper targets here. Now I'm going to show you a couple of well, I don't have anything that's not bullish. I'm going to show you some bullish counts, some insanely bullish counts, and like things that are going to be hard to process. They're so bullish. But as we sit here now with, I think we're to the point here where I think we're at 85% probability here that the 4 is in. There's still, right, what we've done here is not eliminated the possibility that the 4 could come over here. We haven't eliminated that possibility here. But right now, with the sentiment in the market and there's now this strong anticipation here that an ETF is, if not coming soon, it's coming in the near term, right? So we can say it that way. So there's a sense in the market, as I'm sure most of you gather the same thing, that there's a bit of a front run happening here as traders look to position themselves ahead of an ETF and institutional money plowing in. It's hard to argue with that. All the on-chain metrics continue to show that there's a lack of supply, so thus just basic economics here. We're gonna continue to grind higher. Well, with that said, right, so we're gonna dig into this. So on the assumption this is the 4, we're gonna look at how can we solve this a little bit better, and then per the count that's underway, where the heck are we, and how do we start forecasting for where this is ultimately headed, right? Best we can, right? Nobody knows where it's heading. Well. I think right now with the triangle being less likely now, it's not completely off the table, but less likely here. I'm bringing over a revised primer here, and again, I'm doing this work in Motive Wave here, so I'm going to just keep it over here. Oh, it's nothing you can't replicate in TradingView. It's just this is we certainly. I can endorse this product here. I've used it for almost 11 years now. This would not disappoint you if you're a technician, whether you're an LA trader or not. There's certainly a lot of horsepower in here for the LA trader, just not to do your thinking for you, but to save you some time. So there's a couple of things I want to show you here. Now, if indeed it's 1, 2, 3, and the 4 is in here, well, one thing you'll notice is that with more traditional Elliott channeling here, if we work on the assumption that this here is a completed impulse, which I'm committed to that right now, the question is, what did we complete here? I think per the count as we have sitting it right now, I think it may be overly optimistic to call this a 1-2. Right? We looked at that, and again, there are some very, very talented Elliottians here that are interpreting this as a 1-2 because the 3 didn't go far enough. Well, as a Bitcoin bull and someone who's very long Bitcoin, that wouldn't disappoint me. But I think that's a little too much too soon here. This 3 now here I'm in semi-log here, as that's how Motive Wave does it. Just basics. If I just do 3 versus 1, I think we went right. Here's 200. Oh, I'm gonna get caught up here and trying to show you that. Right there we go. I want that. If that were to go higher, we'd see the 261 up. As it sits right here, I just know that we're just beyond the 200. We didn't quite get to the 2618 of that 3. So I'm just gonna take that off. On the assumption here, if that's correct. Oh shit! Here, what did I do? No, I want this back there. Okay, there we go. All right, thought I was gonna have to edit that. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4 until we're forced to change it. I don't think we're ready yet to say this is anything other than 1, 2, 3, 4. We're still working on the 5. Now we're going to look at in the larger degree here how that would all fit in, because it raises some questions about where we are in this count here. And I've back and forth with my team. Again, I'd be the first to tell you they are better Elliottians than I am. And some of my senior members who've been with us for years now that are as good as any. We've been exchanging a lot of counts here, and some of them are getting, just crazy bullish. But that said, I just give you a few things to think about here. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we back to kind of where I got sidetracked here. If we look at the channeling here, and we're connecting 2, 4, and 3. Okay, of course, now it feels like 1 and 2 is kind of left adrift here. And what you'll notice here, and this has influenced my thinking, I will acknowledge that. If this is not the 4, and my view has been we need to balance this out. If I push the 4 off just a touch, right, just a touch, look what happens to the channel, right? You see how motive wave is going to reinterpret that. So now I'm going to connect 1, 2, and 3, which would be more traditional Elliott, right? So then you'd be forecasting for the 4. Now it doesn't have to come to the channel, but you could see how it could take more time, right? So that, right, is certainly, it's something to keep in the back of your mind, right? So if we were to roll over here, and certainly it doesn't look like that's coming right now, but if we were, this is the first place you'd go and say, okay, right? So we need to balance this out more, right? But I don't want to be stubbornly stuck on this, right? If this is going to hold as the 4, then so be it, right? So if it's, we'll look at the solution here. I think I've got a cleaner way to solve that. So the one gets kind of left out in the cold here, right? If you will. But that said, right, it's not like there's a requirement. Market doesn't have to do anything, right? We're just looking at tendencies and traditional technical analysis methodology here to kind of guide us through this. But if 5 is still coming up here, well, we can just typical, right? Same thing. I can say, okay, well, 5 versus the 1. Well, here's 100. That's 127.6, right? If we're going to go up even beyond that, that's 320. All right, if this is 1, 2, 3, that's the 4, and we're in the process of heading to complete this 5, well, the 1618 is 320K, all right? Which would put us, you kind of looking at forecasting, again, using the channel as kind of a barometer for timetable. I mean, it seems hard to believe we could get there by, spring of 22, right? I'm just looking down below, even sooner than that, right? We're going to get that far. I mean, there are some that think once the institutions come in, right, and we get an ETF or more than one ETF, the demand from institutions is going to be so outrageous that we could do that. I mean, it's not unreasonable to be projecting that kind of a move. Now, it's hard to get your head around that, but if there's ever been an asset that could do it, well, Bitcoin is it. So just keep that in mind. Don't let that slip. Right, keep that somewhere here. We have a slightly unusual. Right, again, if any asset can do it, it's going to be Bitcoin. So let me take that down. Let's go to a 3-hour here and look at this. I think what works as a better solution down here, and I've been back and forth on this 12 times. And I've been reluctant to go here, right? Because I've been waiting. I needed to see more of this over here. If this is going to be the 4, I think there's a better way to get there here. Oh shit! Here, I kind of screwed this up a little bit, going back and forth here. Okay, so let me take that off. This becomes open to interpretation, right? So we're going to look at that. So right now we could finish this here a couple of different ways. So right now as it sits, we can go A, B, C. All right, we can get a W here. Then we can go A, B, C into an X. Now, are we done here? I think that's open to interpretation here because we're so close here, and Bitcoin has had a tendency to truncate at these critical pivots here. Oh, shit. I'll show it to you when we go over to TradingView. The other alternative here is that we've gone A, B, C to finish this Y, because this is a tougher fill to finish here to get 3 into that. So if I push this, let's take this over here. I won't push you off. If I push this over here, all right, and then I put the 4 here, and this starts, then we'd be finishing with an ABC here. So I'd go W, X, Y. Right? So if I, here, just to clean it off, get the correction here. So we get ABC here. Now this is within ticks, right? We've got one spike wick here that goes further, but I think this 3, which we've been wrestling with, and we've been looking at this going, all right, well, shit, we have to go 1, 2, expand the B into the C. I actually think this solves the whole thing better down here to go A, B, C with a slight truncation. Again, it's very, very small truncation. See, we were willing to put the truncation here when we were thinking A, B, C, but I think this is more probable here. So A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, which actually I think serves us better here in terms of what's coming out up over here. Apparently I screwed that up a little bit when I changed the time frame. Okay, so if this is WXY, which I think is perfectly valid. It's a little bit of a squeeze to get a 5 in there, but you can get it, right? There's one little kick here that gets her done. A, B, C. So then what's come here, this is the 1, 2, looks pretty promising, right? So where are we in that count? Well, if I just do that, right, that's a good example of motive wave just saving you some time. Okay, 1, 2, and it's doing the channeling for me. I don't know if I wanted to do that and say, all right, well, let's decompose the impulse there. Well, can I get an impulse? Yeah, well, okay, there it is. All right, now I'm down for the 2 here. Now, this equally, right? So this finish and this finish are creating similar conundrums here. If we're going to allow for the truncation here, which again is very, very modest here, there's a reasonable thought here that there could be a truncation as well. Because if we zoom in on this, it's very tempting to think, 1, 2, right? And then as you start to work through some of the subdivision here, this gets a little bit tougher. So I'm going to propose to you that we get something similar here, that we've got a 1, 2, and we're getting to this through a combination. So let's do it this way. Let's do combination here. So we'd have a WXY into this pivot. Now, the reason that's advantageous to us in terms of getting a handle on what's here is that instead of going 1, 2, now I'm launching from here, and I can get a cleaner breakdown of the subdivision here, which I know you can't see here. I'm on a 3-hour. But we're going to look at this. I'll do it over in TradingView where we can break this down a little bit better and then play with some of those scenarios here. So if it's ABC, 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 and we truncate just like we truncated here, just like we truncated here. There was it was here. There's a slight truncation of where we were going to start that, right? So is it here because this pivot is lower? Right? So you get a slight truncation here, slight truncation here, slight truncation here. Now, truncation is the abnormal, right? That's not where you want to go. But as I look through these counts, this seems to be what we're getting here. And part of that is you'll notice whenever we truncate here, it's always off of a spike wick, right? So it's one of these, right? It's a liquidation wick. All right, so somebody gets bent over there, and then we don't get the same reaction over here. So while I'm very aware of the fact that that would be 3 truncations in a row, right? Which is, again, not the norm. I think it actually fits better here. So with all that said, all right, so here's our 4. We've got our 1, 2. Now, where are we going here? Well, let me push this over here. And I'm going to go back to TradingView here. And I'm going to, so here again, just emphasizing that we're still in this middle channel. I think I did it on an hourly here. So so I'm going to do 2 things. One, I'm going to come out of log scale. And we're going to talk a little bit about the conundrum of log, no log, which continues to be kind of a source of, it's a little bit of frustration as well as some other issues here with regards to how to interpret this. And there's no easy answer. But here, so working off of the idea, right? So we'll look at this 2 different ways. Okay, the first premise, if this is the low here, right, and we're not going to talk about a truncation. So you can see the truncation that I was looking at right here. So this would be, I guess you'd do it this way, right? So you would do ABC into a W, ABC into an X, and then ABC into a Y, right? So this becomes the pivot, right? That's the alternate. We'll look at that in a second. Now, as it sits right here, if we're going to hold the fact that, we don't need to truncate here, and to some degree, it's going to be a function of how far we go here. Okay, so if we're going to go with the zigzag, all right, ABC into the zigzag, here's our 2, right? So just to put that in context, so here's the Here's that last low. We're working off the assumption here that we are going to truncate this pivot here. This is the 4. Okay, it would be here. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C into the 4, and we can finish this thing into a 5. So this gives us our candidate here for a 1. Now, we've looked at this as the more bullish alternate over the last, we've been going 6, 7 weeks on this count. 1. Now, all right, okay, I can live with the zigzag. Oh, you could do it. Shit, I don't know what matters here. Yeah, this could be just this straight waterfall, A, B, C into the B. Either one, I don't know that it matters here. Now, we finish here. Now, if this pivot here is going to be the low, well, can we make that work? Well, yeah, we can, as a matter of fact. Right, so, let me zoom in there a little bit more. Okay, so I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can even finish. There's a little diagonal to get that to finish. So all the subdivision is here for this to be the 1, right? Coming off of the lower low, right? No truncation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it. Okay, A, B, C. Okay, got it. Right, that works, and it's deep right here, and we see all this. Right, what a great example here, right? Probe, 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 right? Can't break it, right? Can't go get, because you know there's going to be stops down there. They can't get them. Can't get them, right? You know bears want to go get them, right? You know that, right? Just like they did here. They want to go get them. Can't do it, right? The market's too strong, I should say it that way. Okay, well now if this is 1 and this is 2, can I get there? Well, right, the question mark becomes here, right? Did we put in the 3 here, or did we just go another 1, 2? Well, right off of the bat, off the low, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can get that 1 in. I can get a dot. Jesus, is that? Oh, pardon me. That's oh boy, it's a bit of a squish. Oh shit. Well, you'd have to go down to a 5 to get that to get a 5 to finish there. There are going to be times where it's just not, you don't have it, right? There's just not enough there to work with. It's a little squishy there as to whether or not you'd finish and have to. Either way here, we've just got a little consolidation box. So trying to put a lot of structure behind that, of course, yeah, we could go down to the 5 minute. But I think we're okay here until we're forced to re-examine this to go with a 1, 2. You might even have to do it here, right? Because you might need that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you do. So you need the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get you the 3 here. A, B, C into the 4. Again, it's skinny. Okay, so I got a candidate here. So it's one of two things. Now, if we measure here, let me get you out of there. And you say, okay, well, could that be does that make sense as the 3? Well, again, we can just use our fib swing guidelines here. Again, not absolutes, but just guidelines. All right, we're a little shy of the 1618, but certainly we have a candidate here for this to be the 3. But based on what happens next, we can't eliminate the possibility that we just did another 1, 2. All right, so here in this kind of pink here, I'm giving you the alternate here. 1, 2, 3 could be 4. Now we're going up for the 5. All right, how did we finish up here? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's not a great finish. Much like this is not a great finish. That's not a great finish. We kind of squeezed it in here. This is not a great finish. So the Elliott is getting a little bit squishy in there. It's a little force-fitty. I remind you, don't expect the Elliott to be perfect, right? So when you break down from the 4 hour to the 1 hour to the 15 to the 5, right, you're not going to get every wave accounted for. It's just the reality of the markets. We can use it as a guideline, but don't expect it to be perfect. There are times when it's absolutely perfect. But don't have an expectation that it's always going to be perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that the 5? Well, we can't really qualify, right? Because it could just be that we're in the 1, 2. That's the 3, and we're working on the 4 here. 1, 2, right? Skinny 2. No requirement that it goes to the 50 or the 618 or deeper. We can have a shallow 2. Bitcoin's prone to it. So Bitcoin will often give you either very deep 2s or very shallow 2s. Right? It's very consistent with that. 1, 2, 1, 2. I got an impulse here. All right, now of course this could kick higher. Oh shit, right? I mean, you could just keep going here. This 3 could be up here. You could end up putting this 3 here. This becomes the 4. Then this all moves higher. I mean, right now we can't eliminate any bullish scenario here. So it's just a question of until we get a deeper correction, we're doing our best here to kind of evaluate. Okay, well, if it's not the 4, what's the alternate? Right? Could be the 2. I mean, seriously, you could keep doing this. This could be another 1, right? It really could, right? So, I mean, because if you can complete the 3 there, no reason you couldn't complete another 1 there, right? It's just another impulse. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? It's starting to get crazy bullish, right? So, and I'm doing this on the 60. What do we do this on the daily or the weekly? It starts to get mind-numbing as to how far the projections are. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So is there an opportunity to be a buyer here? Well, it seems to me, right? So coming off of however we count this, we need to wait for some sort of a deeper correction. So you want to be. I mean, this is, well, again, if you're trading on the 5-minute and you're down in the day swing trading. There's lots of opportunity in here. If you're out in the longer time frame here, which I think most of our viewers here will lean towards that as a safer way to approach this rather than get yourself levered up, trading off of a 5-minute. There's anything wrong with that. I don't want to discourage that. It's just I don't think that's where you get the maximum benefit from this analysis here. So if this is 1, 2, and we're still seeking the 3, right? It's possible. Here, let's just measure, right? So if we look here, I mean, how are we looking with regards to some of the upper targets here? Well, here we're already at the 2618. We're going towards the 3. So if it's 1, 2, and that's the 3, it could be A, B. We're going down for a deeper C. But at some point here, we need to see a retracement here that gives us some sense of, okay, right? So something finished. Right now, they just keep going. Could be here, could be 3, 4, and we're working on the 5, which, so if you're not in, or you're in and you're looking for the next place to add, you'd almost prefer that we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because then you'd start looking for that correction to come off of this low, all right? If we were done, right? We don't know that we are. Right? If we're done and we're going to come down, well, you can kind of see a nice location here where this would all kind of play out pretty well. All right, so we can use some of this structure here where we stalled, right, as we were kind of pushing, and then here was potentially the false break, and so here's the classic breakout, bring it back down, retest, now it goes, right? So this is not the one you want to buy. This is much better. So just looking at that, now we don't know that we've topped here. Oh, shit, let's go. You got a little divergence here. I mean, it's pretty extreme here. OBV is going negative here, so it's not enough to say tops in, but okay, but potentially, right? You can see how it could get there. Right? So all of this would end up being, so this would be 3, 4, and that, oh shit, if I can find it, this 5 would be in up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's possible we're done here, right? Way too soon to call that, right? Especially going into the weekend. No idea which way this goes, other than we're pushing. Even if I'm out of log scale here. So just come on. A regression channel on that. As long as we stay within this, we're going to just continue to grind higher. It's a more substantial break outside of this, which would tell us, okay, we completed, right? So if maybe it's here, right? That's it. Okay, so we get that, and then we're looking for that, right? Then there's your opportunity, right? We're right into all this structure. You can look at the volume profile here. There's a lot of business was done here. There will be participation here. So if you were to get a retrace like that down to 48, right? So something's going to have to cause that. It's not just going to happen because we as Elliottians are sitting here waiting for it. Something will cause it, right? And then you're getting an opportunity to be a buyer here. We're kind of back to that, well, oh shit, I can be a buyer under 50 here at structure with a completed impulse. Yeah, I want to participate there. But you aren't going to know until we get a little something deeper, because as I was just saying, this could easily be the 3 and we're still working in the 4, or it could be 1, 2. This could be another 1, 2. So until we get a retracement that breaks this regression channel, it kind of confirms that something has finished. It's just right now it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. No reason to think otherwise until we get that deeper correction, right? So, how am I doing on time? There's 24. Okay, so self-contained move here. Oh, there's even, if I pull this off, there's a pretty nice set of median lines. If this is 1 and 2, find that. It's right here. Okay, so if I pull that off, okay, 1, 2, boy, right? Well, we got to our 80% in a hurry, right? Very deep too. But now as we're pushing here on the outside parallel here, that's the 150, little push between that. If we continue to move higher, it's going to get interesting. Now, see, we're focused over here, and we're looking at this wave, right? So say, hey, is that the 3? Where, if this is 1, 2, where's the 3? Well, we want to put that in context, right? My emphasis word of late, of what has come before, right? So if this is the 4, and we've gone 1, 2, well, we got some big targets up here. I mean, this is where we're looking for, again, just a guideline, not an absolute that we must go there. But as a guideline, that's the 3 we're looking for. All right, 1, 2, we're looking for it up here. So that's 78,000 for this to go 1, 2, 3. Well, you'd put another set of median lines on that, right? So you do it this way. That's it. Now, we going up this far? Right? You'd be running you'd have to put oh, that's, what have I got there? That's the 150. You definitely have to put the 200 on that. So you got a big ripping runner coming off of this 50 here. So this is just shy of the 50. So swing, retrace to a 50. Good spot for the 2. Right, works just beautifully. We got the ABC, right? And again, right, a couple of different ways you could count this. So if this is 1, 2, it would make you look at this and say, well, okay, if this is 1, 2, and that's 3, 4, 5. Let's just play it out. Okay, if we get a more typical Elliott, Elliott impulse coming off of that, right? 1, 2. Well, odds are that's not going to be a 3. I mean, right here, we're not even 100% the length of this 1. So immediately you would start to think, okay, well, that's if we're going to pivot here and something's going to finish, if right, hasn't happened. I don't know that we're just kind of laying out a roadmap here. And I were to get a 3 to bring me back down to this location we just drew out here. Well, what would we be anticipating? If it's 1, 2, 1, 2, right? That's not likely to be the 3rd. Now we're talking some big numbers. So to put that in context, it would be 1, 2. Geez, we're going way up here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So we're trying to get 1, 2. This would be 1, 2. Right? I mean, it starts to get, you start to look at it and go, oh, well, okay, again, now it's going to be easier to forecast once we get something that finishes up here. Because this could be the one. We could be done right here. Now, this all needs to push over, right? If we're coming this way, if this is done, if this is 1, right? Because we get completed here. Oh, shit, how would I do that? We'd do it this way, right? And now we're going to come down for the 2. Well, now the 3 starts to make more sense, right? 1, 2. Now we get over towards this 3 up here, right? Maybe something like that. So that puts us towards the end of the year pushing 80K. Now angle, right? Again, since I don't have this, but you would just keep doing the same thing, right? Same thing, right? So what does that get me here? And I know it's getting harder to see, but those upper parallels here at that 1618, 1, right? So this would be, God, I know that's getting to be mighty difficult to see. So this we would finish this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's the 1, 2, looking for the big 3. Either way, as we sit here right now, it's just kind of a bit of a hurry up and wait, right? So if you're long, right, you're not really sweating this because you're getting the benefit of the increased value of your Bitcoin as this climbs higher. But if you're not long, or not long as long as you'd like, it's now just a waiting game saying, okay, when something finishes here, I'm looking for that retrace, right? Everything we teach is right here. If that's 3, 4, and we got to have more to go to get into that 5, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it's not likely to be the 3 relative to this 1, 2. And again, it's not likely to be. It could be the 3. It could be that we're going to have some sort of a 3 shorter than 1 and 5 shorter than 3. I mean, there's a number of different things that could happen here. That seems less likely. But if this is going to be the 1, then we're waiting, right? There's a bit of a waiting game here. And that makes Well, for crypto traders, that's difficult, right? Because you see the market pushing higher and you're like, hey, it's going without me. Well, but remember, you had that same sentiment right here, right? Remember this? Oh, right, everybody's telling me, oh, you're missing it, man. You're missing it. You're missing the move, right? It's just, we're not going to stop. It's going to keep going to 5 million, right? These are, well, let's just say they're common, right? So nothing says that this can't keep going higher and just keep in this vertical line. It's just less likely. So the fact that we got something like this should, if nothing else, just confirm for you, okay, well, I'm not in, if you didn't buy this too, you didn't buy it here because you weren't sure. I didn't, right? I was waiting, right? So, but I'm already plenty long, so it's not that, maybe that puts me in a different category. I would think most people watching here have got some exposure to Bitcoin here. So the fact that we're rallying here, all that's creating is that emotion, God, I wish I had more. Okay, well, where's a strategic place to look for more? And again, I'm suggesting that something will eventually finish here, and we'll start. Maybe it's shallow, right? Nothing says it has to go 50, but a retracement is likely, just likely, not inevitable, right? We'll get something like that. There's your opportunity. Now we're going into the 3, the 3, the 3, the 3, and all of this starts to really makes sense, right? And then the whole thing starts to fit together. So even if we go back to all of this and our log scale, and you look at that and say, okay, well, if this is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, then I'm looking to finish up here. And again, we're back to 178. So you see the whole thing coming together. Oh, all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, does that have the right look? Now, granted, we're in log scale, so if I push that off to the side, right, it's not going to look, it distorts it. But boy, it has a pretty nice feel. And at that point, the question there is, what did we just finish? All right, so if this holds, right, and this, again, there's this could be a 1-2. Again, they're very solid Elliotticians calling this a 1-2, saying that didn't go far enough, historically speaking. I'm going to finish with a look at that. But if we just look at this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going up for the 5, that actually has a very nice look to it, right? This is, it's a little unusual that the 2 takes so much longer than the 4, but maybe Bitcoin is the asset that can defy that tendency towards more balance. And again, I know you can't see any in there. I just want you to see the broader picture. Okay, so to stay on that theme, let me get these out of here and just get those done, right? And here, let's get all of this out of here. Do I need that? I don't think I do. Let's get that out of here. 1, 2, 3. Here's the 4. All right, if we're holding for that, then right as we were just looking at this. 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5, right? You can see how it could all get you there. Then potentially, right now, because I keep saying this side needs a visit, right? Then maybe, right? We get a deeper 4 on that larger degree. So the 4 could come in over here. Could be over here. Right? We don't know, right, until we get this. But it starts to feel like I can get a handle on this, right? I've struggled with this as the 4, but if we're going to go get there, and then what would we be finishing, right? So then you got to start to step back and look at the longer term here, which I think there's a pretty solid case for this. Oh, let's see. How can we do this? This is... Well, let me come over here. How am I doing on time? Yeah, I've got to catch a plane, so I'm watching the time. All right, let's come over to the Brave New Coin Liquid Index here, and this is I've been back and forth with my senseis looking at this, saying, how do we make sense of this? Well, of course, now we're going all. This is that's a penny, right? We went up to $20 here. So at first, so one of the questions is, God, is that really a 1-2 here? We go to $20 and retrace to $2 here, or wouldn't it be tempting to start it here? Well, in actual fact, right, this is a very valid 1-2 because it's the percentage of the move that matters, not the fact that it went from 0 to 20. Well, of course that does matter in terms of the percentage, but if you're thinking in price point here, we went to 19-20K here, and the 1-2 is from 0 to $20. Again, it's percentage of the move. Well, now granted, here you have to do this in log scale. You can't make sense of it. Oh, here, let me get rid of that. You have to do this in log scale. Well, just some basic measuring here, just looking for wave relationships. If this is the 1, 2, right, that can't be the 3. And if you're looking at this through this lens and you're thinking, okay, well, there's 1, 2, well, that can't be the 3. We're doing it in a 3. So what this seems to create is the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Starts to get really, really very bullish. Okay, so then you're thinking, all right, if it's 1, 2, 1, 2, right, could that be my 3? Well, I can see it. You look at it and say, well, hey, we went from 164 to 1,300. Kind of same process. Could that be the 3 here? Now, granted, right, this is log scale. Not going to be the 3. What does that leave? Right, so it leaves 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, now here's the COVID low. 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, now if you start to look at it here, 3, this 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just trying to finish this 5 right here. Let's put it here. I'll put it in the 80s. Okay, what would we be finishing there? Granted, right? This is the debate about log scale, where you start looking at this, going, "Well, shit, man! If I take that out of log scale, of course, it's plenty long enough." You know, I went back and forth. I dug around online, checked Elliott Wave International, all the resources where you might look for some insight and to get some clarity as to log, no log. There's really no easy answer to it. The bottom line is ultimately you got to use both. You got to look at both, and you got to just use your best judgment as to what's appropriate. Now you can't measure Bitcoin here if you take it out of log scale. You can't. Well, I mean, you can go through it one wave at a time, right? So there you think, oh, 1, 2, right? So when you look at it in this context, of course that you have to count that. Of course, right? What would you think there, right? Of course you'd be thinking 3. But no, right? See, I mean, this is, now I'm at a log scale, right? It distorts everything dramatically. But even still, right? So where would we be now? If it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, now you see, this is where I think people are getting the idea. Well, hey, maybe this is because you could do it, right? You could do it like this. You could complete this. Oh shit, am I going to find that 5? You could do this. You can get that done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So then you're thinking, well, at a log scale, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think that's where that thinking comes from. Well, you know, I know others, right, think differently, right? It's just as valid in log scale. One thing to note here, right, which, I could try and draw your attention to this, but look at the Vegas wave. Right, on that 3-day, literally right into the lips, and then we get that reaction. So if this is 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, it starts to get kind of crazy, right? So that premise would be that whatever we just did right here, if that's 1 and that's 2, well, here, let me put that on there. It starts to get just gonzo, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh shit, that's a little. Oh, what would I want there? I would want sub, right? So if this is 1, 2, that means 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's right. The targets get up into, if you run up to the 2618, it's 9 million. It gets to be kind of crazy, right? So you're looking at that and you go, well, there's no reason it couldn't do it, right? So I mean, if everything that if you think about all of the bullish potential that's here, we certainly anyone who's watching this video has heard a million of Bitcoin, right? That seems very, very reasonable over a long enough time frame, right? So if we're thinking, a 10-year time frame, a million a coin. Well, if you look here, this 2025 would have you. Here's 1, 6. I mean, it gets to be really kind of crazy here. But to bring it back to where we were here, right? So if it's 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And this, which I think, until proven otherwise, I think this looks too good as an impulse to anticipate that this is the 1, the 2, and we're completing the 3 up here. Jesus, how are we doing that right on up? What am I getting there? That's interesting. It's just interesting we're hitting that 23.6. That would be from the absolute low here, so you wouldn't actually do it that way. So if this were the 1 here, right, this would be potentially the 3. So the 1, 2. Oh, now we're back to the conundrum, right? Are the algos using log scale? Well, people ask me that all the time. Members ask me that all the time, and I can't. There's no way to confirm that, right? Unless you're sitting with someone who's writing that code. You just have to use your eyes, right? Are you seeing the reaction there in log scale as well as in arithmetic? Where we know, right? We don't have to wonder. We know what happens in arithmetic. Now, log, you got to make a judgment call there. And again, it's the same thing with evaluating Elliott Wave. The general consensus is when you're looking at a longer time frame, like we're looking over here, you have to look at it in log scale. Right, so thus all the fib relationships stay consistent, right? So it's not like, oh, well, it's not long enough in log scale, but if I put it in arithmetic, it is long enough. I would advise against that, right? I mean, you got if you're going to evaluate in log scale, you do all the fib analysis in log scale. If you're going to evaluate in arithmetic, right, be consistent. When we come back here, this looks like a good candidate for that 3, and then this, I think, is how I get that balance, right? Well, we can come back here and balance out. Now, where are we going, right? You would be thinking, right, at this degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, you'd be thinking, well, that's $1.4 million. There's 2 million, over 2 million for that 5. Now we're talking, this is 2025, right? So 4 or 5 years, 1.6 to 2 million. It's really not that far-fetched at all. So what are you thinking right now? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. I wish I had more of it. Well, now where do I want to buy more of it? Well, even if you're just looking here and you're saying, well, I want to buy it right now because I want to take that ride up here to 170. Well, don't be surprised if you get the opportunity to buy it, back. You kind of look at it and say, boy, wouldn't that make a lot of sense to bring it back down here? Maybe we do something like this. Bring it down for that 4. Maybe you can buy it again in the 50s, 60s. If you're up here, that's going to seem unlikely. But eventually, right? Corrections are just the reality of the markets. Right? And to anticipate that it won't correct, I think is just you're just breathing hopium nonstop, right? So I get to be careful about absolutes. All right, so I could keep going here, but I think I gotta wrap it up anyway, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, right? It's not going to be long enough. If it's 1, 2, that won't do it, right? So we're gonna have to finish this up with this 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so if per that count, if this is the 1, 2, if this is the 3 relative to that 1, 2, makes you pause for a second, right? And well, we're not long enough, right? So that's where I think the thinking comes from. Again, some other very talented Elliotticians thinking that it's 1, 2, 1, 2 because we haven't gone far enough. All right, per log scale, right? So if this is 1, 2 and this is 1, 2, we're getting so, well, all right, things to dream of. Okay, with that, I got to wrap it up, guys. Okay, hopefully I gave you some things to think about there. As always, right, you guys know you can always join us for free in our Discord and get an account on the website. No charge for that. You come in, you get access to the white belt, you get access to the channels that are available to you in the Discord, and then ask people, right? How do you like it in here? How's the content? How's the engagement? How's the experience? Right? Don't take my word for it. Always, I recommend come in and ask other members. Okay, guys. With that, I got to fly, so we'll be back on Monday with a live stream on alts, and I wish you guys a great weekend, and we'll catch you on Monday.